pleasant Friday to you. Welcome to a new racing week here at Lone Star Park at Grand Prairie. Beautiful conditions, 81 as we get going with this Lone Star Live program. Fast and firm on the racing surfaces with Rodney Nelson. I'm Jim Byers. Thanks a lot for joining us. Rodney, big day for you tomorrow. I know I always worry about you getting a little too much sun during the dog racing afternoon. Of course, we say dog racing. We're not talking about the old school South Florida greyhound racing. We're talking
amateur dog racing.
Exactly.
The fastest dogs in
Pets
DFW tomorrow.
So I know you'll be busy with that, and it should be a fun day. But we got 8 races coming up tonight.
Right, and then Mother's Day Sunday,
Yeah.
so it's going to be a great weekend for everybody. I mean, if you're a mother, come out here Sunday. We'll treat you right. If you got a dog, bring it out here tomorrow to watch some dog races along with the horse races. And if you don't like any of that stuff, come out tonight. You'll be all right on a Friday.
Should be a lot of fun. Should be a good weekend. That week in between the Derby and the Preakness. And so on we go. Let's take a look at tonight's races. In the first race, we're offering win, exacta, and double wagering only. We're down to a 4-horse field. Scratch the 1 Brew Crew and scratch the 2 Hooper Drives the Boat. So the 1 and 2 are out. Love My Jimmy looked going in like an overwhelming favorite, regardless however many horses were in the field. And now he could be just about any sort of short price.
Yeah, I think Love My Jimmy, the 6, is the one to beat here. I mean, if you look, this horse has won 4 out of the last 5 races. Last time out, I mean, this horse was a winner in a stakes race. Now, a lot of those races came out west. You see Turf Paradise there. He put together 3 wins in a row out there in Phoenix. You know, that's one of my favorite racetracks,
There you go.
Jim.
I know you love that Turf Paradise.
Yeah, but, I mean, even looking before this, I mean, this horse had some good races. Up at Canterbury was a winner. Had a good win at Remington. Yeah. But if you look back before that, look at Oak Lawn. The horse didn't do too hot there. I mean, got in front, had showed some speed, but ended up getting caught at the end. I think this horse has a ton of speed, as you can see from those past performances there. I think Love My Jimmy gets out there and leads it gate to wire tonight. Number 5, Pudding, is going to be my second choice. You know, this horse had a win last time out. That was the first race after a pretty lengthy layoff. That was in a turf race at Sam Houston, sprinting at 5 furlongs. So we're going to get back to the main track today. We're going to see how this horse takes the dirt once again. But, you know, that wasn't a bad one in early April to pick up a win there at Sam Houston in the route race, moving back here into a sprint on the dirt. I think there's a lot to like about Pudding. Just don't know if they can hang with Love My Jimmy. Then I got the 4, Pomeroy Hayes, as my third choice. This horse has a lot of on-the-board finishes, 3 out of 4 this year. This horse has hit the board, has a couple wins at Lone Star Park throughout his career there. So I'll go ahead and take Pomeroy Hayes third. So I got a 6-5-4 here in the opener.
Yeah, the things about Love My Jimmy, he can obviously win anywhere. As you mentioned, he's won at a lot of different tracks, so he doesn't need a particular surface. He obviously is in really sharp form now. Another interesting note about him, he was entered here on the first Saturday of the meet in a optional claimer like this is. This is a 6-furlong optional claimer featuring older horses. They can be in for a claiming price of $8,000 on up to, let's see, well, there's some that are in for $10,000 because of weight differentials. Or they could have started for a claiming price of $8,000 or less the last 2 years. So it's an optional claimer, $12,000, starter allowance $8,000. He was in a better race on the first Saturday of the meet back in April that got rained out. And he was going to be heavily favored that day, and that was a $20,000 optional claimer with a $10,000 starter allowance condition. So I'm not sure why there's kind of that little hidden drop there. I mean, probably doesn't make much difference, but still doesn't deter me. He's super sharp. And the thing about Pudding is, I mean, he's going turf to dirt, came off the shelf firing, but he's very good on the main track, drive fast track. Pudding has won a third of his races. So, but he's going to have to really be going to beat Love My Jimmy. On we go to race number 2. Non-winners of 2, $10,000 claimer, 5.5 furlongs, the distance in this one.
I went with number 3, Pure Malice here. Now, the last 2 races for this horse weren't the best. I mean, you look at that one 2 starts back. It came last November at the fairgrounds. I mean, the horse was pulled up in that race, eased up, was pretty much out of it since the get-go. Most recent race was the first time this horse was back on the track in a few months. Didn't look too hot in that race either, behind by double digits when they crossed the finish line. But, that was an allowance race. He's coming in here for the $10,000 tag. If you take those last two out, look at the ones before that, this horse has been right up there in the mix in all those races. Out here at Lone Star Park, the horse has had one start. That was a second-place finish. But it's had that one start this year after the layoff. It's had a couple workouts since then, pretty good ones. Back on the 13th of April, this horse worked 2 of 11 that morning. On the 23rd of April was 3 of 24, so the horse has been up there toward the front of all the horses working those days. Carl Broberg trains. You got to like the horses that he trains. He always sends them out in a good spot, and they can run very well. I got number 2, Daryl's Kleptomaniac is going to be my second choice. We had another kleptomaniac horse for the past few years. Wasn't this one,
There was a quarter horse actually named Kleptomaniac. Yeah, this is Daryl's Kleptomaniac by the sire, Klimt.
Yeah, there we go. Little play on words there. But, I think this horse has got a shot here. This is the second career start for this horse. Made his debut on the 21st of April, so it wasn't that long ago. Won that race by 3.5 lengths, so a pretty decent margin of victory there. This horse is making its second start. I love horses that make their second career start or second start after a layoff. Should we get some pretty decent odds on this one? 5-1 on the morning line. Rick Lee's put on this horse. Get David Cabrera aboard once again, who rode this horse in that win last time out. I think there's a lot to like about the 2. Then I got American Icon, the 6 horse, as my third choice. I see that's your top selection here. I just didn't want to put it in front of those other 2, but I think American Icon can run decent tonight. But give me horses with a little bit more odds than 8-5.
Yeah, that's the thing that worries me about American Icon. He's got those Oaklawn lines, and his races at Oaklawn were okay against 12-5 non-winners of 2. This is 10,000 non-2. Not much difference, except the racing at Oaklawn is so competitive. The fields tend to be really big, and this horse ran okay there. I think his Oaklawn form is good enough, but the thing that concerned me about him is 5.5 furlongs really his thing? I'm not sure he's necessarily a burner that's going to love 5.5 furlongs, and he's going to be a really short price. He is 1 for 23 lifetime, but I do think that since he has spent the vast bulk of his career in Kentucky, that may have something to do with it. He broke his maiden at Gulfstream, and then he went on. He actually broke his maiden in his debut, so American Icon's actually on an 0 for 22. But, he's racing at Kentucky in much higher levels. That muddies it up. Single Majestic's my second pick. I thought he ran a really nice race last time behind Motap, who kind of freaked out. Plus, Kentucky Ice was in that race up the track. He came back to win the other day. Pure Malice, I want to mention him. I noted him when he ran here on July 4th of last year in his debut, and he was a well-beaten second. His damn Pure Clan made almost $2 million. Pure Clan was one of the best mares, if not the best mares, that the late Bob Holthus, one of the region's best trainers of all time and the longtime leading trainer at Oaklawn, ever trained. Pure Malice, he's not a shadow of his mother, but great breeding. And he's probably finding his level, so he could be really tough in this spot. On to the third. Race 3. All older fillies and mares ended up in this one. Optional claiming $10,000 with a $6,000 starter allowance provision. They're going 7/8.
Yeah, so I'm on Miss Distinctive, the number 7 horse here. You see this horse has been claimed a few times. I always like to see that. It tells me that owners are willing to reach in and take this one. Especially, so this one has been claimed by End Zone Athletics two different times within the last year. So I'm guessing Carl really likes this horse.
I wrote Carl likes her on the PPs just to remind me that she has been, he claimed her, he's claimed her 3 times in a year. So.
Well, we'll see how it works out. He's probably going to send me a text message saying I'm out of my mind picking this horse. He did that to me last week. That's if I was drunk when I made my picks. And then the next race, I hit that Brett Calhoun horse that paid $38 on top.
That Kauai Uma.
Yeah. So there wasn't bad there. But Miss Distinctive having been claimed a few times in the last year. The last 4 races this horse has spent up at Hot Springs. All of them coming this calendar year. Horse has a third, a couple fourths from those races. Not too bad in those starter races there. We'll see this horse has run out here at Lone Star Park before. Has a win in a couple seconds out of 4 tries. has a win at this 7-furlong distance as well. I think there's a lot going Miss Distinctive's way, and I wouldn't be surprised if she's able to take this race. Number 6, Yvonne's Miss is going to be my second selection here. A winner last time out. You know I love horses that win. This horse has put together 3 wins in the last 4 races. The only one that this horse didn't win those last 4 was a stakes race up at Will Rogers. Totally got beaten that one. Finished 9 of 10, beaten by almost 16 lengths. But before that, I mean, this horse has been a money maker. May not have been the wins, but has some seconds, some thirds. This horse has won $108,000 so far in her lifetime, so not bad at all for Yvonne's Miss. I think this horse can run well. And then I got the 3, Math Mystery, as my third choice. Another horse that's coming in here off some recent wins. 3 in a row, all 3 of those coming at Sam Houston Race Park. 2 of those at 7 furlongs. The most recent one at 6.5, won that race by 6. So this horse could be ready to go, ready to fire tonight. And I think if Math Mystery is ready to go, we're going to see this horse get out to a lead and just not look back and maybe win it by 6 or so like that last race. But I got it 7-3-6. I think there's a lot of different ways you can go here in race number 3.
I am, you went 7-6-3, right?
That's right.
Yeah. This race to me was not easy. Yvonne's Miss, to talk about her first, I don't know if she can repeat that. She might. I mean, it was a sloppy track. She's not getting that today. She likes dry, fast tracks. I didn't pick her last time, so when you don't pick a horse and they win, sometimes it takes a lot to get back on their bandwagon. The thing that concerned me about Yvonne's Miss was she was under a pretty hard drive. She won clear, but it wasn't like a wrapped-up, confident, come right back in 2 weeks clear. It was a pretty good drive. That doesn't really mean anything. She's very sharp, as you say. Miss Distinctive, I like the fact that Broberg likes her. She's run okay since adding blinkers, but not necessarily that much better than she did before. I like the recent work at Oaklawn. And she certainly likes 7/8 of a mile. But Math Mystery is my pick, the 3. 5 for 5 at the distance, 7 for 16 lifetime, winner of 3 in a row. I don't always pick streaking horses because, let's face it, I mean, the Thunder aren't going to sweep the Mavs now after last night. That could be a long series. Nobody wins every game or, wins every race. I worry a little about Math Mystery being softened up front. If she's able to get out kind of a comfortable lead, not margin-wise, but without having to extend herself too much, I think she can win. So I went with her on the sharpness angle. On to the 4th. Should be a lot of pace in this. There's nobody in this race in for a claiming tag, but this is an optional $40,000 claimer or horses that have not won 2 races other than a maiden claiming starter trial or state bred at a mile or over since November 10th. This is when these conditions get confusing. Scratch the 5, Holden the Loot. Scratch the 8, Don't Cross the Devil. A mile, all older runners. Good race. Very good race here.
Yeah, so it's going to leave us with a field of 6 here after those 2 scratches. Number 3, Mind That Star. Top choice here for me. If you look back through, I mean, I've got a good 8 or 10 PPs here in my program, all of those stakes races. Some pretty good ones there, too. Like the Steve Sexton Mile last year, our signature race of the meet. Ended up running 5th in that one, beat half the field. But this horse does have a lot of experience. If you look, 26 lifetime races for Mind That Star, has won 10 of those 26 races, so that's a pretty good record there. Has a win at the mile distance as well. Nokia is 0 for 2 out here at Lone Star Park. Has failed to hit the board in either one of the starts out here, but like I did mention, one of them was the Grade 3 Steve Sexton Mile. But Mind That Star, I think this horse can have a nice run today. I'll take this horse on top. Number 2, It Makes Sense, is going to be my second selection. This is a horse that's been running in some pretty decent races, some big races. If you take a look at this horse's record out here at Lone Star Park, out of 6 starts, this horse has won 3 of those. So 50% winner out here on our racing surface. I think It Makes Sense could be a nice play if you want to try to beat Mind That Star, which I don't think is going to happen, though. And then I got number 4, Silence de Oro, as my third selection here. This horse is coming in off back-to-back wins, both of those coming at Remington Park last summer, early last fall. One of them was on the turf, one of them was off the turf at the 1 mile distance. That was the win, won that race by 5.5 or 5 1/4. But the horse has been on the shelf since last September. we'll see what happens, but it's nice to see Richard Aramia get on the horse today, see if he can't have a good ride here in race number 4.
There's a lot of contention in here. I'm on my net star. Rick Lee, whose picks are in the program, is on him as well. He makes a lot of sense. I mean, he comes out of the Sunland Park handicap 9 furlongs last month, where he was beaten by Presidential, who was second in our Derby, the Texas Derby, 2 years ago, and behind his stablemate King Ottoman, both for Steve Asmussen. Presidential's made over $500,000. For that matter, my net stars made $587,000. Nonetheless, he's been facing really top-notchers. He's a veteran 7-year-old who's still going well, and so I'm going to take him in kind of a close call over Ethical Judgment. I think Asmussen could have a big play in this one. Ethical Judgment made good ground last time in a mile at Houston, April 6th, beating one of the scratch runners, Don't Cross the Devil, in that effort. Earned a pretty reasonable buyer of 82. Steve claimed this horse back in November at Churchill, and that was, put him in a race at Oaklawn against Frosted Grace, the Sexton Mile winner. He was beaten only 5 3/4 lengths by Frosted Grace there. He was actually closer to Frosted Grace at the finish than my net star was in the Steve Sexton Mile, if you care about that. But, I think, I don't know if Ethical Judgment's best is good enough to beat my net star, but I think he's got a really good shot today. And I'm curious to see Machine Gun Man, who is trained by a trainer I'm not familiar with, Juan Sanchez. Boy, he comes out of some fast. He's got speed in the rail like crazy, and David Cabrera. So Machine Gun Man on the inside is going to be interesting to watch, too. On to race 5. By the way, that 4th race begins the pick 5, which has a little $749 carryover. But on to the 5th. 3-year-olds on the turf in this one, the rail at 20 feet this week. This is a $75,000 optional claimer, and there are some horses in for the tag here. Or he could be a non-winner of 2. And Scratch the 9 Rusty. This is a really good race. Wide open type race, I think.
Yeah,
here.
Some pretty good races tonight, no doubt about it. I got Illustrator. Looks like you're on Illustrator as well. That's the number 7. Coming in here fresh off a win at this distance. Did that down at Sam Houston Race Park back the 1st of March. Ran second in the Texas Turf Mile there at Sam Houston as well at this 1 mile distance. A win before that, broke that maiden by 11 lengths at Remington Park last November. Horse has a lot of experience, or I say a lot of experience, 5 races, all of them coming on the grass.
Yeah.
And in those 5 races, it hit the board in every single one of them, including that win at this 1 mile distance. I think Illustrator is the horse to beat here. I went with number 2, Mon Bolt, as my second selection. This horse was a winner at first asking. It came back in January at the fairgrounds. Took some time off, got back to the races toward the end of March. Didn't do too hot in that one, but that was a pretty big race over there in New Orleans. Ran 9 of 11 in that one, but coming here to Texas for the first time, we'll see what happens with Mon Bolt. And like I was saying last week, I mean, Brett Calhoun, I hit on that horse. It was paid $38. I'll tell you, if you don't watch or play Lone Star that often, you can't let Brett Calhoun's horse go off at 14-1 or plus. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I think that Mon Bolt can have a pretty good race. And then I got number 6, Lewis the Champ, as my third choice. This horse is coming in fresh off a win last time out. That was on the turf at this 1 mile distance. Did it back on my birthday, the 25th of February.
All right.
So it's had some time off since then. It's had some works over in Bossier City at Louisiana Downs. None of them really popping off the page, but the most recent one back on the 1st of May was 2 of 7 on that morning. I think this horse should be ready to go for Steve Asmussen. We'll see if Lewis the Champ can't get up there and round out the trifecta.
Yeah, it's always interesting to follow these Asmussens that were big, high yearling purchases. You know, he was a $390,000 Keeneland September yearling purchase a couple of years ago, and didn't get to the races until right before the first of the year, 23 into 24. Didn't run a step on the dirt at Fairgrounds, but then went to the turf at Houston and ran well. You know, he's probably not going to be a first-string Steve horse that runs at Churchill or Keeneland or, wherever. But, he could easily win this race. We copied off each other. We're both 7-2-6 here. I don't have too much to add other than this is a pretty wide-open race. And, you got a Kentucky Dawn who broke his maiden last time out on the turf back on the 1st of March. And what's interesting is Kentucky Dawn and Illustrator ran on the same turf course, same night or same day at Houston on March 1st. And Kentucky Dawn against maidens ran 2 Beyer points faster, for what that's worth. I still think Illustrator's overall body of work's pretty strong. On to race 6. 5/8 of a mile on the main track, so an abbreviated sprint here in the 6th. And these are 3-year-olds and up. And we got a field of 9. This one has a pretty good favorite here in Prizeless, the Louisiana bred for Broberg.
Yeah, I'm on Prizeless here. I mean, last time out, the horse, showed some speed. This horse does show some speed in the races. Last time was in for the $10,000 tag. Ended up running second in that one after leading it most of the way around. Drops down in here to $5,000. I think it can do nothing but help Prizeless here. That was the first start over our course. But if you take a look at how this horse has run 5 furlongs, has a dozen wins out of those 30 starts at this distance. That is, this horse has 13 wins lifetime, so 12 of them have come at this distance. So a distance specialist, if you ask me, for Prizeless. We'll see if he can't pick up win number 13 at this distance today. Number 2, Little Avenger is going to be my second choice. Coming in here fresh off a win last time. Came from behind to do that. Won that race by a neck. Finished second in the race before that. Last time this horse was in for the $7,500 tag. He's in tonight for $62.5. So not much of class relief, but a little bit. We've seen Little Avenger run against some quarter horses out here last year as well. Was beat by those quarter horses, but we've seen some of them run back this meet, Play Rule, Detective Bernardo, and I think both of them got beat out here as well.
Yes, and Shifty Henry has had his moments. He's a thoroughbred too, and he's had his moments where he's a pretty good Texas bred, I believe, too.
Yeah.
So, and Shifty Henry beat him here last year too. So, that was a pretty good group of thoroughbreds and quarters that came here last fall for that race.
Races, but I don't know. I just got a little iffy on Little Avenger. I think the 1 does take this race. And then my third choice is going to be number 4, Sir BB. A third last time out at the $7,500 level, sprinted 5 furlongs just like this race tonight. This horse has a ton of experience at this distance as well, 12 starts, but no wins out of those 12 starts. Does have a couple seconds in 4 third-place finishes, but I'll take the horse for third. But I think that number 1, Prizeless, gets the job done tonight in race 6.
Yeah, this is a guy that is a pretty experienced Louisiana Stakes-type competitor. He's made almost $330,000. He has taken some win money down with him his last 3 starts. He's been favored in all 3. But he's still run pretty decently, and he's got really good speed. And I don't mind being drawn inside at these 5/8 races if you have good speed, because you just get out there and let everybody outside of you, take aim and work themselves into a lather trying to get by you. And this horse gets a nice drop from open 10,000, wide open claiming, down to 5,000 today. So to me, Prizeless is kind of a stick out. If at 5,000 you really want to call anybody a stick out. Race 7. I think this is kind of a puzzler, all like the 6th race, all older horses in this one. 5.5 furlongs. These are Texas bred first level allowance runners.
Yeah, another good race here, this allowance. I got number 6, Lucky Promise, as my top choice here in this race. Last time out, this horse tried the turf, went 5 furlongs on the grass, ran a good race, came from behind, finished second in that race, beaten by 2 lengths. The race before that, nothing stands out in that one, but if we look at the ones previous to that, you see a second and a third in allowance company at Sam Houston Race Park. This horse picked up a win back at Remington Park last September in a $5,000 condition claiming race. Austin Gustafson, he's sent some good horses out. Hadn't had a ton out here this meet so far, but if you look at his record, 8 starts, has a couple wins, a second, and a couple thirds. So 5 out of 8, Austin's been able to hit the board. David Cabrera with the mount today. I think there's a lot to like about Lucky Promise. Give me that horse at 7-2. Belingo is going to be my second choice. That's the number 8 horse. Last time out, ran a seventh in that race. Was a winner before that at Sam Houston. This horse is going to get out there in the front, I believe, and be there most of the way around the track. I think Lucky Promise is going to run him down at the end as we see some of that closing distance from the 6. But Belingo is going to be my second choice. And then I got number 2, Summer Help, as my third selection here. 15-1 on the line for Summer Help. think there's a lot to like about this horse. I mean, last time out, this horse showed some speed coming out of the gate, finished second in that race in a field of 7. 2 races before that race, this horse broke its maiden at Sam Houston at 5.5, just like we're going today. Summer Help at some big odds. This might be one to put in those exotic wagers to help you get paid on the way out of here tonight in race number 7.
His last Beyer was certainly legit, albeit against a little bit lesser quality of Texas bred, but that 58 Beyer is enough to, it should put him into contention in this one. I thought Reckless Red, who I didn't pick on top, I picked him third, was kind of logical here. He's back on his best surface. Some of his Beyers are really good, but he hasn't worked. He hasn't raced since April 7th. I don't know. I just thought maybe there was a chance to beat the morning line favorite here, and you and I are both doing that. I went with Blingo. I just decided to go with speed, and this race puzzled me. Everybody's form kind of puzzled me. I don't like the fact that Blingo, caved on the turf last time, but it was a turf race. He's back on his, better surface here. I mean, this guy is 0 for 5 on wet dirt and turf in his career, but he's 3 for 12 otherwise, so he likes dry dirt. He's speedy. He's going to be in front. I don't know if he can hold, but it's only 5.5. He has faced Lucky Promise before. Lucky Promise has typically finished ahead of him. The only thing that worries me about Lucky Promise is he can definitely sit, and he can definitely pass some horses. He can move up a little in running position. But does he really gain? He never really gains on the leader. I like to look more
at passing tiring
exactly.
horses.
Horses that pass tiring horses aren't really making an impact on the winner. They're just going from 6th to 4th and 3 lengths back to 3 1/4 lengths back or whatever. I mean, I say that, and he normally does beat Blingo. You can see some races where he's finished in front of him. So we'll see. It's a good matchup, though. It's a good race, whether you like a horse that can sit, even in a sprint like that, and finish, or one that, give me a horse, or you prefer a horse that's going to have the lead and might not be able to hold. On we go to the 8th and final. Super High Fives carrying over. I don't believe, in fact, I'm quite sure we have not had a single jackpot winner yet through the first few days. The carryover up to 8,736. You don't recall a single jackpot winner.
Well, I know I didn't hit it. I didn't take the jackpot.
No, I don't think we've had anybody take the whole jackpot. We've had some people hit it in multiples, but the carryover's up to 8,736 in the High Five. Mile and a 16th on the grass. All older runners in this last race. $10,000 claimers, and some of them are in for $10K, or starter allowance for $6,250. Truly Danzig number 5 is out.
Yeah, $8,700 in that carryover pool for the jackpot High Five. Not a bad way to get out on a Friday night if you're able to take that jackpot home with you. I got number 1, Blue Boone, as my top choice in this race. Last time out, this horse got smoked. I mean, beat by almost 16.5 lengths. Just didn't have
it
that day.
It's a marathon, though. It was a mile and a half.
Yeah, like I said, just didn't have it that day. Mile and a half, so he's cutting back. I mean, you don't see that mile and a half a ton. Going to a mile and a 16th today. This horse has tried the distance a couple times, has a second to show for it. But what I really like about Blue Boone is the record on the turf. I mean, out of the 15 career starts on the grass, has won 5 races, 4 second-place finishes. So that's 9 out of 15 that this horse has finished in the exacta. Horse has done well out here on our surface as well. Out of 3 starts, has a win and a second. Give me the number 1 horse in the last race. Number 7, Optimus Cat's going to be my second choice. It's another horse like one earlier that we saw get claimed a few times. Last time out, this horse was claimed at the fairgrounds. That was back on the 14th of March. Had a pretty good meet over in New Orleans. I mean, had a second by a head, 2 starts back, a couple third-place finishes. So not bad. I mean, had a win back in the meet, back at their meet back in December. Optimus Cat, this could be a decent horse here. And then number 9, Easter Snap is going to be my third choice. Coming in off a win last time out at Evangeline that came on the turf. See, this horse has run a lot on the grass, 46 times on the grass, 4 wins to show from those 46 starts. Has some wins out here at Lone Star as well. I got it 179 here in the nightcap.
Yeah, I started here in 2016, and I think Easter Snap, judging by his number of starts and his age, probably started racing here in 2017. So he's been here almost as long as I have. I went with Optimus Cat. I mean, good turf races at the fairgrounds. are hard to pass up when they come over here because the winter turf racing in New Orleans is really strong. Like you mentioned, this horse had a race at this level approximately at the fairgrounds, put up a very impressive buyer on December 8th and won that race. Since then, his performances have been pretty good. He has been through a variety of barns. Now he's with Federico Villafranco. I'm going to give him the top spot here in this last race. It's a bit of an unimaginative pick. And he's going to have to, find his way through a little bit of traffic, but he usually does that. Blue Boone, I agree. I mean, I think getting on, he was favored in that marathon mile-and-a-half race, and he was actually in contention for a while because your points of call in a mile-and-a-half race start a little later. And he backed out of it and ended up running 8th out of 9, well beaten. But I don't think a mile-and-a-half is his lick, and I think a mile and a 16th is a lot more comfortable for him. So, if he runs back to some of his fall form, he could be really tough in here. And so he's my second pick. And then Go Speed Racer Go is another one that I never overlook him on this turf. He's first or second 5 of 9 on this turf course. Seems to like the fact that it's a bit firm here. He was grossly overmatched last time out, back in a better spot. So he's one that I always keep an eye on because he'll usually be running hard late. And he likes this course. And he picks up a very hot rider in Floyd Wethy Jr., who was very hard to beat last week. All right, that's it. Good Friday night here at Lone Star. Once again, the dogs and everyone's furry friends will be here tomorrow. Dogs, specifically. And then Mother's Day on Sunday, so it'll be fun.
It'll be fun for a lot of people. There's no doubt about it. Exciting to watch those dog races tomorrow. Mother's Day Sunday.
Yeah.
Good weather. I mean, what a great weekend
let's
to be
hope
out here
the weather
at the
holds up. What a relief it was today coming in knowing that we don't have to worry about the weather and 15 scratches because we're off the turf. All right. That's it. 30 minutes to post. Thanks a lot for looking in, and good luck tonight.